Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to an episode of An Anthropologist Puts Makeup On. Woohoo! As you can see, I am barefaced. Barefaced. There's a reason for all of this, and it's not to show you off all of my awesome, cool, highly expensive, very hard to get hold of exclusive makeup. Because I don't own that kind of makeup. It's because I hit 6K, and I get asked certain questions a lot, and that's fine because obviously people are curious and they want to know. So I thought, because some of the questions are like hard to just give a real quick answer to, some of them require like a story time. So I figured let's do makeup and a story because I want to do a bunch of recording today anyway, so I was going to put makeup on anyhow. So I figured two birds, one stone. And eventually this plane will fly over and we don't have to listen to it. This is a GRWM video. So we are going to be talking about makeup too. So if you're not into that, perfectly understandable. However, I'm going to talk about, the first thing I want to talk about is, everybody always asks, how did I get into archaeology? And there is a little bit of a story there. It's not the most entertaining story to me because it's my story, but I don't know, maybe some of you might think it's interesting. But before we do that, we must prime. Because I have somewhat oily skin. It has definitely dried up as the years have gone by, so it's not as oily as it used to be. But it still can get really, like, if I have a bunch of makeup on, it still gets like really hyper reactive. So to combat that, also I have mature skin. So to combat both of those things, I use a primer. I didn't used to use primers, and I don't know, I assume even on youthful skin, primer is pretty awesome. I know Amber's always talking about how she loves her primer. I also use e.l.f. pretty much. These are all going to be e.l.f. products, pretty much. And I use the Power Grip primer from e.l.f. with the 4% niacinamide. Am I in focus again? Yes, excellent. This stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is not smooth going on. It's a gel. You don't need a ton of it. It's a little bit. I'm going to show you this because the first couple times I tried to use it, I like effed up bad and it hurt. But I got me some wrinkles, so we're gonna fill in the wrinkles. First step. All right. This stuff is very tacky. So the only time you can really smooth it out is while it's still moist. Moist. This is going to be really interesting because I don't have a mirror. I'm just doing it with the computer screen. I might have to go get myself a mirror. Anyway, the only time you can really smooth it around like that is while it's warm, while it's still liquidy. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, see how it's tacky. I'm barely touching my skin and it's like pulling. If I were to try to smear it right now, it would like stretch my skin. So there you go. That's my tip too. All right. Anyway, I just bought this. This is that's the e.l.f. Stay Cool primer stick. Just got this. It's neat. It's a priming stick. I didn't think it would work that well. I don't know what's in it. But it has a cooling effect. So it feels really good is what I'm trying to say. Like, I would like to smear this all over my face. I'm just trying to like remember what side's what. This stays pretty creamy, as you can see. So as long as I like avoid the areas where I've already put the tacky shit on, it should be good. All right. No, I don't use eye cream. I'm really gonna actually make a couple people really angry the way I put my makeup on, just so bear with me here. All right, so how did I get into archaeology? That's a really good question. All right, so when I was in, what grade were we in? High school. I think it was either my sophomore or my senior year of high school. We had to do a essay about what we wanted to do after we graduated college or after we graduated high school because it was just assumed we were all going to go to college. And I mean, I did, but so I mean, good assumption on them. But however, the point is, so I didn't want to do the assignment. I didn't have any interest in the assignment. I wanted at the time to be a creative writer, and everybody and their brother was like, "Oh, there's no money in that." Well, I showed you. There was this book I remember, and it was like all the different careers you could have. You know, it was specifically for for kids when they had to write this stupid essay. You know, "Oh, here's all the jobs you could possibly do. Write an essay about one." I opened the page. Anthropology was the very first entry in that book, and guess what? I wrote a paragraph. I wrote my essay about. So, yeah, that's how I got into it, really. Now, ironically, or unironically, I don't know. I was a huge CSI fan growing up. So I want to put my concealer on first. I'm special, that's why. So I used to watch the old CSI all the time. Original CSI is still best CSI. You can fight me all you want on that one. You are wrong. So I wanted to do forensics, and the college that I applied to, that I got into, did not have a forensics program at the time. That's how old I am. Anyway, cliffhanger. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer Satin Finish. I don't know if you'll be able to see this even if it does focus. Yeah, no. So I learned this trick on TikTok. I'm gonna need a mirror, a real mirror. I learned this trick on TikTok on how to put concealer on properly. So that's what we're gonna do today. So if you want to play the home game, how she showed me how to do this on TikTok. I don't know who it was. It was just a real quick video. Just put a little bit there. Add a little bit here. Yep, that's it. Oh. I have pimples today. Anyway, this will make sense in a minute, I promise. I promise this makes sense. Anyway, to the eyes. So she said, don't put it in the center of your eye, as I have done, because it will seep into your fine lines and the texture of your skin and look cakey. And she's right, it does. So, said instead, to blend it out the way I did. I mean, yeah, you can still see it going up my nose, but that'll be fixed in a second. But you see, apparently it will not get cakey. Now, I'm going to light myself up like a goddamn Christmas tree, so you're not going to see fine lines or caking to begin with on camera. But in real life, it does actually look better than it does otherwise. So, highly recommend that trick. You do not have to take my word for it. I am not a beauty guru. If you, don't like your results, that is not my problem. Ooh, don't I look weird? Very patchy. I'm always fascinated by how the concealer works. Anyway. So, we were in school. So the school I got accepted to, put me in their anthropology department because they didn't have a forensics department. Why didn't I go to another school? Because I didn't get accepted to any other schools. I was in the top 10% of my class, and I had good grades, so it wasn't a matter of my grades weren't up to par. First off, I didn't apply anywhere else because I didn't really want to go to college. I wanted, so I graduated when I was 19. Yes. No? How old was I when I graduated? So yes, I was 19 when I graduated. I had to remember. I had to do math. And as I've demonstrated, I'm terrible at math. So anyway. What was I saying? Oh yes, so I wanted to take the year off. I wanted to spend a year just working. I just wanted to go get like a job and just work, maybe pay off the car I had that I hated and get a new car. Just, I actually had it in my head that I was going to go travel a couple different places and just kind of like go be free for a year back in 97. So, yeah, it's a good year for that. But my parents convinced me that I needed to go to college, and I needed to go to college immediately after graduating. Because they were afraid if I never went to college, that if I didn't go to college immediately, that I would never go to college. And I don't know, maybe they were right, but the world will never know. But was college, I honest to God, don't think I was really made for college. I don't think I'm one of the people that really benefited from going to college. So there's my cautionary tale about college. If you don't need to go to college, probably don't go to college. But, your mileage may vary. So, anyway, I applied to this one school. I knew I would get in. I was a legacy student, so it was easy to get in, honestly. They didn't have a forensics program, so they put me in their anthropology department because they offered a limited number of physical anthropology courses there. And physical anthropology tends to deal with the human body, bones, human development, that kind of stuff. So initially, my focus when I went into school was anthropology with a focus on physical anthropology. Now, anthropology has 4 branches. Anthropology has 4 branches. Yes, I just said that. You have physical anthropology, social anthropology, linguistics, which is a very cool field, by the way, and archaeology. Because I was an undergrad, you don't actually focus on any particular field. You kind of make that decision after you graduate. And anthropology is unfortunately one of those degrees where if you actually want to do anything with it long term or full time, you have to have an advanced degree in it. So you have to have at least your you have to be planning to go to get at least your master's, or you're basically just wasting your time. And so somebody asked me, what would I say to people who are pursuing an anthropology degree right now? And that would be, decide now if you're going to teach, if you're going to pursue academia, because if you're not, probably this is not the field for you. If you have no desire or capability, like some people just don't have the money, the time, or the resources to pursue a higher degree, no shade. It's not easy. If you're not going to do that, anthropology is not the field for you. I would imagine sociology is probably very similar. I don't know, not a sociologist, but I imagine most of the academic fields are very similar like that. If you're not immediately considering going after a graduate degree of some variety, then it's probably pointless going through the degree program. There's other things you can do, like programming, a business degree, any number of degrees that have a real world application upon graduation. Those are probably the degrees you should probably be looking at. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. That's my opinion. Anyway, so this is the ELF Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I don't know how hydrating it is. This is the second time I've ever worn it. So let's play a game. How hydrating are you? Not a huge fan of their applicator here. No. Why are you doing half your face, Tiny? Because Go back over it with a brush. This is weird doing it like this, by the way. Anyway, let's do this. Give me a second. Ta-da! Half of the foundation's on, the other half the foundation's not on. I think I'm very fortunate. I think I have fairly even skin tone, honestly. If I didn't put concealer on, wouldn't be that big of a deal. I don't even know if I really need concealer. But this is what the satin finish looks like after you've brushed it on and then gone over it with a sponge. I kind of like the airbrushed look you get. Do people even airbrush their makeup anymore? Anyway, I like the way it looks. I like the finish on it. I think it looks very natural. I think this foundation color is the wrong color for me, but you know, such is life. Feel free to tell me all the things I'm doing wrong in the comment section down below. It's fine. At no part have I ever claimed to be a beauty guru. Alright, so there's the foundation. Doo-doo. I never use a mirror that close on my face. That's kind of weird. This is nice, though. So I've never really noticed how well that primer gets into my pores. So where were we in the story? Where were we in the story? Yes, so I was studying physical anthropology. And because I was basically creating a forensics degree, they stuck me in, well, they didn't stick me. They suggested that I take criminal justice classes. And I was like, cool, yeah, I should do that, right? This is ELF, Stay All Night, Microfine, Setting Mist. Mainly I bought this one because it has green tea extract in it. So it smells like green tea. And I really like that. It's really, honestly, the only reason I picked this one over the other one. So, there you go. I don't have sensitive skin, so I have sensitive eyeballs. Why did I put that on before I put on anything else? Somewhere, somehow, I watched a video from somebody, and they were like, yeah, if you want your foundation to last longer and not seep into your fine lines, of which I have, like, some very prominent lines. Not just fine. Prominent. Anyway, they were like, you should put on setting spray before you do anything else on your face and let your foundation set, and then go in and do the rest of your face. So that's why I did that. Is that valid? Is that valid information? I don't know. All right, so I'm in college, taking my human osteology, which is the study of human bones. I'm taking trauma in the bones, diseases in the bones. I'm taking a lot of social classes because, like, it's still an anthropology degree. I still have to take all 4 fields as part of the degree. So I'm also taking, like, you know, intro to physical, intro to social, intro to linguistics. I took some cultures of the Northwest. I was very versed in, like, the various cultures of North America, and that's it. Because I was like, I'll be working in North America. I did take a couple classes on, like, Southeast Asian cultures, which was really kind of fun because it was just neat learning how other cultures function and develop and that kind of stuff. I took a class on, like, Mongolian culture because, as people have asked before, I would love to go to Mongolia and do archaeology there. I just think, like, the folk traditions there are just beautiful and gorgeous, but most other countries have different qualifications, and they really don't like it when archaeologists from other countries, especially Europe and America, just kind of barge in and are like, we're here to do your archaeology for you. And they're kind of like, yeah, no. How about no? How about go over there? And so a lot of countries don't really like that. I could probably apply for permits and mainly kind of find a company that would hire me or take a risk on me to have me come and do archaeology there. But, like, I'm not that specialized of an archaeologist when it comes to that kind of field stuff. So I have nothing to offer them other than, like, I just really want to dig. And they're like, nah, that's not good enough. So that's kind of where that comes from. But I am qualified to do archaeology in North America, and same thing with Canada. If I could find somebody who was like willing to hire me and like sponsor me to do work in Canada through their company or their college, then that would be a completely different story. But I can't just like roll into Canada and be like, I am here to dig. They're just not going to let me do that. And that's perfectly understandable, like 100% understandable. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm taking all these social classes. I'm taking all of these like intro classes, all these archaeology classes, and then I then I made friends with the lab director, the archaeology lab director, and got sucked into the lab there. And so I started doing artifact cataloging and cleaning while I was there. I wrote an undergrad thesis on bottles, glass bottles, so much glass, so many glass things. But I'm actually really impressed with the stuff you can do just from glass bottles and garbage. I was really, really tempted there for like a hot minute to go into garbology, which is basically the archaeological study of garbage. I was really interested in that for a long time. But I settled on kind of focusing on post-contact historical archaeology, mostly like honestly from like the 40s forward. I was really fascinated in that kind of like consumer culture that developed around that time and persists into today, which I'm still pretty fascinated with consumer culture today, just because it's kind of my roots kind of a thing. I got to do some really interesting projects while I was in my undergrad. I don't know how many of you know who Madam C.J. Walker is, but I had the excellent privilege of being able to dig up the backyard of the first house she lived in Hawville, Indiana. So that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And I worked under, some of you may know who Paul Mullins is. I was very fortunate to be able to work under Paul Mullins. He is a hoot and a half. I love him so much. He is probably the most influential professor that I had classes with. But I also had two other teachers who were two other professors. I had two other professors that I never took a class under, but we just hit it off. You know, sometimes you find professors who just take an interest in you as a student, whether you're actually one of their students or not. So I was very privileged with that. So overall, like, my college experience was fun. I got to be the vice president of the anthropology club, and that was a lot of fun. I was the treasurer of the women's club, so I got to do a lot of like feminist stuff on campus. That was fun. Really met some very interesting people. This is long before gay marriage was allowed, but you know, the campus was quite open. College campuses have always been open like that kind of thing. Like, they're a good place for people to go and just kind of meet other people who are not like you, and to just kind of expand your outlook in life. So in that aspect, college is important. College is good. But again, like, the overall cost of college, I think you can get a good simulation of the college exposure experience, mainly just hanging out on a college campus. Like, you don't have to go to college to hang out on the college campus. So that kind of thing. Cheat is what I'm saying. Cheat. Anyway, so all right, where did we leave off? All right, so I've gone to college. I'm in the anthropology department. I'm taking all of my intro classes. I got to do a really great dig for Madam C.J. Walker. I got to write an undergraduate thesis on bottle glass. I was a TA for Mullins for, I think, the last 2 years. Yeah, the last 2 years of my degree. I was a 5-year undergraduate. I took a year off while I was going to school, like a whole year. I just was like, no, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. My grades were good. Well, okay. My freshman year, the first semester of my freshman year, Civilization 1 came out, the game. So I had really shitty grades. But I recovered. Recovered quite well. Colleges are very forgiving to freshmen. Let's just leave it at that. All right, let's put some powder on real fast. This is the Halo Glow. This is the Halo Glow setting powder. I ended up buying the medium the first time I purchased this, which is too dark for me. However, it works great as a bronzer. As far as like settings powder, though, I like the lighter one. It's a little bit more translucent, so. And I don't use a lot of it, really. I know, you're all yelling at me, it's fine. Why are you doing that? Because this is how I put my makeup on. That's why. You all keep saying, you have such nice skin. No, I don't. I put makeup on. I mean, I have a nice even skin tone. That's obvious, but as far as, like, flawless skin. So the reason I name dropped Mullins and nobody else is because chances are people are going to know who Mullins is over any of the other professors I worked with, because he's published several different popular books. Popular versus academic being popular are typically what we call books that professors and professionals write for the non-academics to read. You know, books that are actually enjoyable to read. And then there's the academic stuff that, you know, the publisher perish theory, which is not something we have time for in this video. Ask Lee in my chat sometime. Lee will tell you all about publisher perish, because it's a bullshit, stupid form, but there you go. Not the topic of this one. We are going to use, I just got this. I'm really enjoying it for the one whole time I've worn it. This is the Halo Glow Beauty Wand Blush, and this one's called Rose You Slay. And I'm doing this the way the video showed me how to do it on the website. And somebody said that I need to go from the corner of my eye to the center of my eye. I'm doing this wrong too, don't worry. And because I really like that, like, stupid look where they have, like, the blush coming off their noses. That's a personal preference. I know I'm doing this wrong. Leave me alone. We've covered this. So, where'd my sponge go? We're just gonna, like, blend it out. Blend, blend, blend. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Yes, we make that noise while we blend. Blend, 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 blend. I put too much on. No, I didn't. This is what it looked like. There you go. See? Woo! I need to blend it a little bit better, but there it is. There you go. Blush. Now, I've started hearing people talk about blush toppers, which I think is when you do this kind of like a liquid or a cream blush, and then later you go over it with a powder brush. Blush. So this time we might give that a shot. Normally I do wear a powder blush, so this is new to me. All right. So I've gotten sucked into the physical and archaeological side of anthropology while I'm in my undergrad. And then it's time for me to graduate. And I don't know what to do for a job. I'm not having much luck finding an internship anywhere. Because anthropology is not, there's not a lot of jobs in anthropology. Like, there's very, very, very few jobs in anthropology. And fun fact, 70% of the people who get an anthropology degree in colleges these days are going to end up going into a field of what we call CRM, which is cultural resource management, for those of you who don't know. There's other things that are also called CRM, something to do with, like, customer service something or other. I don't know what that is. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about cultural resource management. So what that looks like for archaeology is basically you're a field archaeologist who just takes random jobs. You're a freelance archaeologist, basically. Now, I didn't know any of this until the final semester of my senior year, and I was scrambling. I needed to find a job. I was going to graduate soon. I needed to put this degree that I just spent 5 years getting to work, right? So there was a graduate student. He was working on his master's, and he was volunteering in my lab. So the lab at the school, and I forget what project he was doing there. He was doing some research on his own, and we got to talking about, what do you do after you graduate with your undergrad? And he said, well, what I did is I went and I did shovel bums. I shovel bummed for a few years, and I was like, cool, what's that? And so he sent me to a website. And I think Shovel Bums is still active. It's like, it used to be shovelbums.org. So go ahead and type that in if you want. And it's basically a place where it used to be a job board where you went and you looked for jobs, and all of the different companies, the different CRM companies, the US government, the military, they'll all post jobs there when they're looking for people to do archaeology, which is really cool because it makes finding the jobs easier. And then you apply. And they have jobs there for entry level. They have jobs going all the way up to PhD level. So, I mean, it used to be like this anyway. I haven't had to use Shovel Bums in a very long time because once you get established in the field and you start making connections, then sometimes you'll even find a company that just keeps hiring you over and over again. And that's kind of what happened to me the last few years that I was doing archaeology. Is I just got in with a company that I enjoyed working for. They treated me well. They had interesting projects. So I was just like, all right, I mean, as long as you keep me busy, I don't give a shit. So there you have it. That's how I got into archaeology. So I'm going to go back in with the darker halo setting powder because I have found for me, it's a good bronzer. I have a different skin tone. So bronzers on what most people use for bronzers, just like, it looks like crap on me and I hate the way it looks. So I don't tend to use it very often is kind of where I'm going with that. But this stuff, it's light enough. Still get that cool bronzing effect, but my blush lines were a little rough. Look at that, though. I look like I'm blushing. Like, like blush is supposed to make it look like you're doing. So I don't really like to like get in there with bronzer and like sculpt my face because I don't like the way it looks on me. Let me put it that way. I don't like the way a lot of things look on me, so. Right. So I got my first job on Shovel Bums. I started working in archaeology. What was my first job? Oh, my first job. My first job was a job actually in New Jersey. A lot of fun. I hope you all enjoy your New Jersey Devils Stadium. You're welcome. That was my first project. We surveyed the area for where the Jersey Devils Stadium went in when it was very first built. So there you go. That's when my first job is done. This is me doing my eyebrows. I've not lied about this. I literally just use... There we go. Do. Ta-da! I literally just use old mascara. This is CoverGirl Plum Crusher. I like the formula. I think I like the wand the best. So when I finally run completely out of this, I'll probably just save the wand and just keep using the wand because I like it the way it looks. And look, I have eyebrows. I told you guys were going to hate how I put my makeup on. All right, so this is the ColourPop. I like this palette. This is the Pretty in Peach ColourPop palette. Yep. The Pretty in Peach wow, I'm completely wrong. This is the Pretty in Peach Morphine palette. Why did I think this was ColourPop? So this is the oh, I can't even tell you what that is anymore. Delighted? Delighted? Look, you can see my setup. Hi, everybody. So here's Delighted. I don't know why I did that. You don't need anywhere near that much powder. This stuff is really pigmented, so you don't need hardly any of it, honestly. I've had this palette for a few years. Now, I don't wear a lot of makeup either, so a little bit more. So, what were we talking about? Oh, so my first job was in Newark, New Jersey, putting in the Devil Stadium. I don't even know if they still use that stadium anymore. That was a really long time ago. So, it's entirely possible they have a new stadium already. So, I don't follow hockey. I didn't even know there was a Jersey hockey team. until I put in till we did the survey for it. I was like, all right, well, that's cool, I guess. But that was my first exposure to New Jersey and the New York area, which was just a hoot. Y'all are characters, and I think you all know that. I'm almost positive you all know that. Isn't that a pretty color? That's a nice neutral base. Dark, but not too bad. And in all honesty, I'm not going to do a whole lot with my eyes. Wanted to kind of smooth the color out, call it a day. I don't know what this one's called either. This is... Don't know. But it's a glitter. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yep. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do. Yeah, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. So that was my first job in archaeology. I don't remember when that was. Honestly, I don't remember when that was. I got to do a really cool project before I graduated. Working with what we called inner city kids. Indiana, when I lived there, did not really have at the time what a lot of people would think of when they think of like an inner city. Like Indianapolis is the largest city in Indiana. Am I right about that? I might be wrong now. But anyway, at the time, Indiana didn't know what a ghetto was for a long time, unless you lived near Gary. And then that's a whole other story because Gary technically belongs to Chicago and I will die on that hill. But so, we were working with underprivileged kids from the inner city, but basically we were working with kids from underprivileged school systems and who had, not the best access to education and stuff like that. But we were doing archaeology programs with them, and it was a really cool program. We called it NESAP, but that's not the word that the initials would have put together. It was what was it? Next Step Education through Archaeology. It was in collaboration with the Boy Scouts, which I think is how the school that did it, which was Martin University, was able to like pay for it. It was a really cool program. I don't think they do it anymore. Sometimes you just lose people that just cannot be replaced. But he was the one that pretty much headed up that program. So when he passed away, I don't know if they kept the program going, but I had already moved on to doing graduate projects and, working for full-time companies. So, I wouldn't have been in the program anyway, I guess is kind of where I was going with that. I pretty much cut my archaeological teeth in that program. I learned how to sharpen my trowel in that program. But I look pretty. Pretty, pretty. So, yeah. That was a good program. There are a lot of kids that graduated out of that program. I participated in it in the last, I want to say, 3-4 years that it was around. And yeah, it was great. It was a great program. The kids all got like a little scholarship stipend at the end of the program. And they all had to put together papers that were presented at the Midwest Archaeological Conference every year. And it was really cool. The kids were great. All right, let's see. We did our eyes. Yes. We've done our cheeks. Yeah, we're good. We just need to do our lips. And my lips are pretty simple. Do. Right. Oh yeah, mascara. I'm gonna do a thing because I want to see the difference myself, but I don't know if you guys will see it. All right. So this is the lash extender from Elf. Anyway, I just got this one. I've been using this Essence Lash Princess. And I really like this stuff. It has really good reviews on Amazon. Really like it. So we're gonna... I like the spoolie for it better. I think is part of the issue. So we're gonna do this eye with my old mascara. And get mascara on my... Yeah, there we go. We'll just pretend like it's an eye freckle. So there's one-ish coats of this stuff, which is in black, so it's going to be a little bolder anyway. This is actually in brown. I like the natural look, if you haven't figured that out. But, alright, so this is going to be the ELF stuff. I don't know. You can't really tell a difference on the camera. Yeah, you can't really tell a difference on the camera. Maybe this one's a little... This is a little darker, but also this is black. This is brown, so that's going to be weird. But I'm not really seeing too big of a difference. But in real life, this is definitely more coated, I guess is the word. Versus this feels very spindly. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess. You're going for more of a natural look. This is definitely hitting the nose. I think my problem is I've just gotten used to the dark black. I don't usually wear black. I usually wear brown. But I think what's happened is I've gotten used to the black. Because this one is definitely more clumpy. It's definitely got some clumping and some, like, globs. Not a ton. Just one or two, right? This one does not have that. So this one is much smoother of a formula, so we'll go with that. I don't know which one I like better, honestly. I think they both have a purpose, right? Both have a time and a place. Alright, so there's that. I said I would do this topper trick just because I wanted to see what the difference is. Oh, I haven't put a highlighter on. Ha ha ha. Okay, before we do that. I've got the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Glow Stick. This is one of their like limited edition stuff for the summer kind of deals. They have a primer. I think that's it. They've got the primer, they've got this highlighter, and then they've got this lip oil. It's all watermelon scented. It smells like watermelon candy. I want to eat it. But, so this is the highlighter stick. And we're going to do it with the camera now. Whee! It's just a highlighter stick. It doesn't really do anything. Oops. Give myself a sparkle unibrow there. I don't know why we do this. My cousin taught me to do this. I don't really know why we do this. But she taught me to put it on the top of my lip. Apparently it makes your lips look fuller. Sure. Go with that story. I can't really see it that way. But it's a very nice, subtle, cool tone highlighter. So if you have a warmer tone or darker tone skin, it's definitely going to show up on you much stronger than it's showing up on me. But yeah, see. All right. More than anything, it's got a really nice cool sensation to it. And it smells like watermelon. So otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I guess. What's the point of highlighter? Someone explain this to me, because clearly I have no idea what I'm talking about. If you've made it this far in my makeup tutorial, and you don't look like a clown. Alright, anyway. So, I think I've, like, butchered my way through my origin story. So why did I quit archaeology? That's the other one I get a lot of. So I'm actually no longer active in the field. doing field work. I no longer do CRM work. And mainly that's because I kept getting injured. And the last couple times I went out for a project, the project got canceled before I even got out there. Is that how this is supposed to work? And the problem with that is with CRM, you are a contract worker, right? So if you don't work, you don't get paid, basically. So if they cancel the project on you on your way out to the project, you don't get paid. That how that's supposed to work? I guess. Hide that double chin. I actually kind of like the shape of my chin, honestly. So having that pop out a little bit more. Not mad about it. What else do I need to do? Don't I look gorgeous? I'm very shiny. I like the shiny look. I know it's not everybody's thing. I like the shiny look. I also like Shiny. I think they're a good band. But I don't know, a project that I was on about 10 years ago. I think I explained this in the live, but I picked up a bucket of dirt it was a bucket of clay, and it was wet clay, and it was just very, very heavy. And I basically threw my shoulder out doing it. Now, part of that was I should not have tried to pick up the bucket of clay. I wasn't really paying attention. The other part of that was my dig partner was being an ass and was overfilling the buckets even after I'd asked him to stop twice. So, thanks, buddy. But yeah, so my shoulder is kind of jacked. And it's just, it's one of those, it's a very physically labor intensive job. You're hiking 10 hours a day, you're digging, you're constantly moving, you're carrying 20 pounds easily of gear, sometimes 50 pounds of gear, depending on what you've got. You're just always on the move. You live out of hotel rooms. You're eating whatever you can cook in a hotel room. It's very hard to cook healthily. Trust me, I've tried. So it's just a whole bunch of stuff, I had met my partner. We'd started living together. We had cats. It was just, we moved to 2 different states. So it was just time. It was just time to stop doing field work. The other end of it is you don't make a lot in CRM. Like when I started work in CRM, and this is with my undergraduate degree, by the way, they started me at $10.25 an hour. And when I finally stopped working in CRM, one of the other main reasons I stopped is because I started asking for $20 an hour, $20 to $23 an hour. And most companies didn't want to pay me more than 18. Even though I know my male counterparts, who were equally as educated and had just as much experience, were making somewhere around $20 to $23 an hour. So that pissed me off. So I was just like, okay, it's time. It's time to just stop doing field work. But the reason why I don't say I'm like retired from archaeology, other than I'm shaking the shit out of the camera, is because I still do archaeology. Like I still apply archaeological principles and archaeological theory to things like paranormal archaeology and to gaming archaeology. And since I'm not attached to any particular company and I'm not attached to any particular university, I don't have to worry about like publish or perish. I can just kind of do what I need to do and do what I want to do as far as like research and stuff. Now, because I don't hold a PhD and because I'm not part of a company or a university, I'm very limited to what I can physically manipulate, I guess is what I'm going for. Like I can't, with paranormal archaeology, that's something that occurs in the meat world, the real world, the IRL world. And so if I wanted to go to a haunted location, I could not do an archaeological dig there. Like I don't have the proper credentials to be like, all right, we're going to start digging. I can't do that. But I can go to a location like that and I can do a pedestrian style survey because that doesn't require me to disturb the ground in any way, shape, or form. And as long as I have permission to take pictures and that kind of thing, I'm not violating any kind of laws or anything like that. I can write up my findings, I can write up my ideas, my theories, my what have you. I can do all of that. And I mean, I kind of do want to do that kind of a thing for the paranormal stuff. I just haven't really been able to do so. I've not really had like the freedom of time to go do it or the resources to go do it. But it is on my like goal list, you know. Gaming archaeology is a whole other thing. I don't have to worry about permits and that kind of stuff because it's a game world, you know. You can only do so much to a digital world. And that's kind of the point of gaming archaeology, is interacting with the game world the way the developers both did and did not expect you to interact with the game world, but also like, at least this is my part of gaming archaeology. Gaming, or archaeology of gaming, or archaeogaming, has a lot of different facets. There are literally people that study the code of the game. So you can go deep into archaeogaming if you want to, or you can stay on the front end, kind of like I do, and just kind of look at the game worlds, the material culture within the game worlds. I mean, we did a huge survey of Elder Scrolls. I was working on that for because my dumbass decided to go back for my master's. That's a whole other story. But for my master's thesis, I had a crew of people who volunteered to work with me, and I appreciate it. And yeah, we did a survey of a couple of the different regions in Elder Scrolls, and it was a lot of fun. I got a write-up from both of them from it. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But I was kind of trying to demonstrate that you could use archaeological survey principles in a game like that and get similar results than you would have gotten if you had done it in the real world. Obviously, the Elder Scrolls world does not exist IRL, but we used the same principles that we would have done for a pedestrian survey in that game. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but don't worry. The part that doesn't make sense is the boring part. All right, this is Spicy Sienna. This is the lip stain from Elf. I would show it to you, but it literally just says Elf on it. The lettering is way too small. But anyway. And then I usually let that set, and I'm going to let that set because it kind of dries up and then it stains and it looks really good. And it sticks around for a while, so I really like this color. And then when that's all set and done, I will go over it with a nice shiny gloss. This is the Jelly Pop Glow Reviver Lip Oil. Whoa, that's the wrong way to go. Anyway, it looks really pink. It's nowhere near this color once I put it on. It's basically just shiny when I put it on. There you go. There's my face. For all of those of you who wondered how I got this perfection, there you go. Now, all of you who wondered that are like, Jesus. What else do I need to talk about? So yeah, so there you go. That's a very rambling, makeup-heavy way of explaining why I studied archaeology, what happened while I was in school, and why I'm not in the field anymore. I know it's very anticlimactic there at the end, but I mean, it effectively just broke down to I wasn't getting paid enough and I kept getting injured and I just got tired of it. So here we are. And yeah. So that's like the most common question I get every time I do one of these is somebody asks. And that's okay. Like, perfectly understandable. It's just probably from here on out I won't answer that question anymore, and I'll just refer people to this video so you can watch me become flawless while I ramble about how I got into archaeology. If you've made it this far in the video, good job. You deserve a cookie. So let's put your favorite makeup piece down in the comment section down below, if you will, or if you don't know what your favorite makeup piece is, I don't know. Guess. Make up something. See what I did? And yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I dropped a thread somewhere. That is entirely possible. And yeah. I will see everybody in the next one. Bye!